right, so we're going to get started. I do have the chat function open, so feel free to submit your questions there. I'm going to be able to look at it. Hi, my name is Molly Margulis. I've met some of you. I'm a career community advisor with the Career Education Office. It's been really nice to connect with people during this time, just because I feel like we're all a little bit isolated. I also just want to acknowledge before we go too far into this that this is a really hard week, I think, for a lot of people. Not everyone has the headspace for this content. So, you know, if you have friends who maybe aren't able to join us right now, feel free to direct them towards our website where we'll be posting all this stuff. There's just a lot going on in the world, and so I realize that this is just one more thing. So thank you for joining us and finding the time. Let's see. So job searching during the pandemic. I specifically wanted to cover this topic because I myself graduated from Goucher College in 2010. It was not an ideal economy. Nonprofits, which was what I was mostly applying to, the entry-level positions were kind of disappearing or being filled by people with the experience. So it wasn't what I was expecting. That said, there are definitely ways to keep moving forward. The real trick is to not give up, you know, be hopeful, be optimistic, and be realistic at the same time. Because you're going to have to be a little bit more agile and nimble. All right, how do there we go, agenda. Okay, so let's see. We have the job search starter pack. I wanted to briefly touch on self-knowledge, personal branding, networking, navigating the search, and then how we can adjust that search, and then leave some time for questions. I'm not going to spend too much time on interviewing and networking because those things were covered earlier in this week, and I don't want to give everyone double the information if they attended those. That said, feel free to ask questions about them. I'm happy to dive in a little bit deeper. We're going to kind of do a surface level look at all of those. Okay, so job search strategy, know yourself and wow. Know yourself. This is one of the most important aspects when you're job searching because it's hard. You go to these websites and there's lots of different positions. And you can search based on your major and what you've kind of expected, but what's more effective than that even is understanding where your interests lie in a broader sense, and then what are your values. I think too few of us consider elements like what is our ideal work environment like? How important are our coworkers? Do we want to work remotely? Which now actually a lot of people are going to be doing that. For some people, the work itself is enough to keep them there, even if the other elements aren't really in place, whether it's location, kind of having a strong work environment where there's a lot of collaboration. So it really depends on you, and there's no right answer. So it's important to kind of take stock of that and think about who you are and help that guide your search. Also assess your skills. You know, you're coming into the market. Having been a college student, you're probably not going to have been in the job market for very long, and people aren't expecting you to have. That's why, you know, on that education section, they're going to see that you just graduated, and they're going to understand that you're just graduating into the job search. So think about the skills outside of industry experience that you're bringing to the table. We're going to go a little bit more into those later, but this is really about understanding yourself and then helping that kind of frame your job search. It's not just about a job title, right? It's about you. And then the world of work. So I'm gonna move this a little. I have two screens going on, which is always a little bit tricky for me. Explore different career fields. You know, some people are actually going to probably approach the job search less from the industry itself, but the kind of work that they personally want to do, which could kind of transcend different industries. So think about opening that up for yourself, really broadening your search. Review those job descriptions. Again, this is not pandemic specific. These are kind of just general rules about the job search. You're going to find keywords in those job descriptions. And the more you zero in on something that you think you're interested in, you're going to see a lot of repetition. Make sure that those words that you're seeing kind of spark your interest and speak to you. If you're not excited by the job description, then that might be something to, you know, to move on from. That said, sometimes we see a position and it doesn't seem that interesting, but it seems like it could lead to something more interesting, or you're going to be kind of circling something, a field that really is your ultimate passion. Take the opportunity. Even if it's not what you expected, it could lead to infinite other opportunities through the network, through the skills you're building. Research a variety of employers, investigate industries across geographical areas. Now, I know that everything feels a little bit bleak with the economy and with the fact that we're all kind of working from home, but what's kind of exciting is that this has opened up so many more work from home options, which means you don't have to look in your specific geographic location anymore, right? So, you know, when I was job searching, I was keeping it to Baltimore and DC, thinking I want to stay in this area, and so that's where I need to focus my search. With remote options increasing exponentially, this is a really cool time to think about how you can focus, you can kind of leave out that geographic element, which can kind of taper in our job search and start looking at things in wider areas. All right, and remember, there's a couple people who just joined us. Please feel free to type in any questions in the chat as I go through this. There's a lot of different ways to research different careers and employers. A lot of them are on our website. So I really suggest using our website for our resources. We have articles, we have paid services like Vault. So you'll see that on here. Vault has amazing blog posts and videos and career guides. And they have content coming out constantly. So they're reacting very quickly and nimbly to the COVID situation. So I suggest going over there for some really up-to-date career guidance. Professional associations, you know, you can start zeroing in based on your interests. What can I do with my major? That's kind of a cool site that we offer through the CEO website. You can actually search by your major about what kind of different careers exist within those majors. If that's kind of where you're coming from, if you're still not sure what you want to do, but you loved the work that you did within your major, that could be a good starting point. LinkedIn is huge. Not only is it huge for networking, which I highly suggest using our alumni networking search tool, but also a lot of jobs are posted there now, and a lot of people are actually getting jobs through LinkedIn, which is kind of a newer thing. So I definitely suggest going around there, updating your LinkedIn profile. We have lots of resources on our website about how to do that and some good tips. But that's going to be a huge resource for you. Everyone's working from home, everyone's online. So use LinkedIn. I mean, this is a great time to be doing that. Employers, again, Vault. Idealist is great for nonprofit work. Glassdoor, LinkedIn again. Organizational websites. The alumni LinkedIn tool, like I mentioned, has over 12,000 alumni in it, all across the globe, all across different industries. So check it out. Locating advertised openings. So I know things are kind of weird right now. There's a lot of hiring freezes. I know a lot of you might have had opportunities, whether internships or jobs, that were rescinded just because industries are trying to figure out how to move from the office to online and how to kind of start building out again. And I do think we are going to start building out soon. But we're still in that transition phase. It's a weird moment. So check out Goucher Recruit. You'll still have access to that after you graduate. We are directing more and more alumni to post in there as well, which really gives you a leg up because they love networking with Goucher students and they love giving Goucher students opportunities. Google Jobs, Glassdoor, all of these are great general websites. And then if you go to the industry specific sites, you know, with the nonprofits, Idealist, Opportunity Knox is another one. Higher education, they have their own sites that kind of house a lot of these. I don't know if any of you joined us last Friday for our alumni and publishing panel, which was awesome and is also available on our YouTube channel. We recorded it. But they recommended like 5 other sites specifically for publishing that I had never heard of and I wouldn't have heard of had I not had people from the industry telling me. So use that network to find more resources. If you kind of know the industry you want to get into, use it. Use those people. GovernmentUSAJobs.gov is great. Okay, I'm kind of streaming through because I have a lot of information. I do want to give you some time for questions. Check out company websites. If you have heard of a company that you're interested in, do the research. Go onto their site, look around, see if they've given you any updates. Are there internships available? Are there contacts you could connect with on LinkedIn? Websites for geographic locations. Again, that can be really helpful, but right now you kind of aren't locked into geographic locations, right? When things start opening up, you might be in a weird position if they need you to go into the office, but I think, and this is what kind of the industry news is right now, is that we think there's going to be many, many, many more work from home options after the pandemic's over. So think about that possibility, especially if you're open to that kind of work. Job fairs. We have an MCC fair coming up. It's going to be online. Baltimore College Town Network is great. They advertise tons of opportunities. There's lots of virtual fairs. We try to post them through our Instagram, our social media, but there's so much more than we can post, and we don't want to flood your feeds. So do some research, just Google virtual fair, and then maybe within a specific industry or region. Professional associations or student membership options, conferences, which are also moving online, magazines and journals you can subscribe to get that industry information. With everything changing so rapidly, it's an even better time to kind of be in touch with the industry standards and how they're shifting, so that you can shift with them. Okay, networking, organize and make a plan. Again, not going to spend too much time on networking. It is essential. I just want to really quickly plug informational interviews. I didn't do this when I was jumping into the job search. I was kind of uncomfortable with the idea of asking people for help. One of the great things is that it'll get easier and easier to do that. And informational interviews are such a great, casual, easy way to do that. You can reach out via LinkedIn, and because we're all working from home and not meeting up personally, you can, instead of doing like a coffee date, you could do a Zoom date. And all this is basically reach out, introduce yourself, express your interest in maybe the industry they work in or the job they have, and just, say that you want to learn more and would love to chat with them. Would they have 15 minutes to do that? Goucher alumni love to do this. There's one of the greatest things about going to such a small school is that we all have this really kind of strong cultural tie to Goucher. So reach out to that network. They're really excited about it. They love other Gophers. And just have a conversation. And the trick is to kind of not make it about what you can take from it, but kind of open up a conversation with them so that they feel like you're interested in what they do, right? Kind of oriented around them and their experience. And what they'll be able to do is maybe they aren't exactly in the precise role that you're interested in, but they'll be able to introduce you to someone who is. And that conversation will help you identify what exactly it is more precisely that you want to be doing. Organize your contacts, objectives, and next steps. This is also true just for the job search in general, not just for networking. Make a manageable plan. I think the biggest thing with all this is that it can kind of get overwhelming when you think about the job search as a whole. I know it still makes me anxious to think about. So the important thing is to really break it down into manageable steps so that you can just check things off. Even if it's a 20-minute task, it could be connecting with a couple people on LinkedIn. It could be doing like a half hour's worth of industry research. It could be looking at organizational websites and taking notes. You don't have to do it all at once. You have to chip away at this. So make a plan that works for you. Especially right now, I feel like our mental health is being strained. Things feel even harder than they did before. I think we're just all trying to manage this bigger thing. So break it down and give yourself something that is actually doable right now. Okay, well, we already covered informational interviews. I really jumped the gun on that one. But here's some great sample questions. How did you begin in the field? That's where you are, right? So if you already know the field you want to get into, you might be able to follow a similar path. But most paths aren't linear, so it might be kind of interesting to ask that question for multiple reasons. What are some challenges and rewards about the job or field? Can you recommend professional organizations for this field? What does your typical day look like? This one's huge because until you're in a job and until you're in an industry, you cannot possibly imagine what it's going to look like day to day. And this is where your values come in, right? If they tell you about the job, the kind of the day-to-day structure, and it feels kind of against your it kind of butts up against your personality type, whether it means like you're not interacting with enough people or interacting with too many people. That's something really important to learn. Even better than that, of course, is having the experience itself, because you learn a lot from that. But this might help you kind of start zeroing in the kinds of jobs that you want to do. Be polite, professional, on time. Remember, they're doing you a favor, and follow up, thank them afterwards, and stay in touch. That could be like putting a reminder on your Google Calendar for every, month to send an email and be like, here I am with my search. Thank you again. Stuff like that. So it's really forming relationships that will hopefully see you through your entire professional career.